So fired up for today's show. We have so much to get into. Thank you for starting your week with us. Welcome into First Take. Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, Molly Karam here with you. Gentlemen, good morning.
Listen, I respect you for just showing up today. I'm impressed. Way to go.
Well, I'm not you.
Huh? You got courage.
I'm not you. I get my comeuppance today. This was not a good weekend for me. So I have to come in here and eat crow on several.
Will you shake
He
my
might have
hand
got a
first,
couple right.
Thank you.
I really didn't want to.
All right, I know.
But I will.
I know you didn't.
You got me today. You got me today. All right, I got it.
All right, here we go.
I got
You had a good week. But how about
Except for
them
my
Cowboys? We'll get into them in just a bit, and of course, Dez as well. But first, let's focus on the battle of undefeateds. The Broncos defense, reminiscent of the Orange Crush, made the Packers offense look pedestrian with a 29-10 win in Mile High. Skip, was this more about Denver's defense or Aaron Rodgers?
Wait a second. Stephen A. Smith, I got my stats here, and my stats say, did I fall asleep and dream that Aaron Rodgers had a grand total of 77 yards pass? 70, yeah. Can I repeat that again?
Yeah.
77 yards passing? So once again, last night, the bad man was just bad. In fact, he was beyond bad. He was horrible, the bad man was. I got to say this because this was my final thought at the end of that game last night. For once, Aaron Rodgers looked more like Mr. Rodgers. He really did. The Denver Broncos made Aaron Rodgers look like Mr. Rodgers. Who knew? Who would have thought? And I'm going to ask you again, as I sit here and ask you week after week, when are you and all those blind Aaron Rodgers worshipers out there, most of you in Packer Nation, when are you going to wake up? And when are you going to realize that the bad man just is not that good, especially when it matters most? Now, again, for perspective, the bad man did go on one miraculous road team playoff run, a wild card run through the playoffs that consisted of winning at Michael Vick in Philadelphia when he was really shaky, at Matt Ryan when he was really shaky, and then at Jay Cutler when he wound up on the bicycle in the second half. Your favorite game off which to ridicule Jay Cutler. Those are the three games Aaron Rodgers won to get to a Super Bowl in which Troy Polamalu was not able to run on his bad hamstring, and during which Aaron Rodgers' defense was sensational and did a number on Big Ben in that Super Bowl. So that was a long time ago. And since then, your man Aaron Rodgers is 2-4 in the postseason. And as of last night, Aaron Rodgers on the road in primetime games, nighttime games, he fell to 3-9 on the road, primetime, 3-9 for the bad man who was just bad. So the point is, he can front run at Lambeau Field. We know that. And most of their games are at Lambeau Field because they play about three-quarters of their games at home. But you make him play away under the lights, and Aaron Rodgers melts. And look, I realize the Denver Broncos have the best pass rush in pro football. There's no doubt about that. But again and again, Aaron Rodgers' offensive line did give him enough time to stand in the pocket and make one read and throw it to one receiver, just the way Tom Brady is constantly forced to do behind that makeshift, least experienced in the NFL offensive line of New England's. But again and again, Aaron Rodgers stood behind his offensive line, and he tap danced like the late, great Gregory Hines. He did. He tap danced. They kept him in the pocket. They would not let him loose. And he tap danced like the late, great Gregory Hines. I've never seen anything like it before. Aaron Rodgers does not belong in the same sentence with Tom Brady, so I strike the sentence I just uttered because it doesn't count. He doesn't belong in that sentence. Last night, Aaron Rodgers was badly outplayed by a washed-up, quote-unquote, Peyton Manning, who, by the way, looked a whole lot like Peyton Manning to me. As I keep telling you, I think he's just fine. So, bad indeed, Stephen A. Smith. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, I'm willing to concede it was a god-awful night by the Green Bay Packers. Could y'all turn that video off, please, while I'm talking? Let me be very, very clear. It was a very bad night by the Green Bay Packers. They were absolutely pathetic and god-awful. They got completely outplayed and embarrassed on national television. All of that is true. But, Skip Bayless, I'm here to tell you I am not willing to concede what you have conceded about that bad man that is Aaron Rodgers, who undoubtedly had the worst night I've ever seen him have in all my years of watching him. There is no question about that. It was anemic. It was pathetic. It was awful. He passed for 35 yards, I think 37 yards, I'm sorry, in the first half. He only attempted 12 passes in the first half. He finished the game only attempting 22 passes, completing 14 for 77 yards. All of those things were embarrassing. But unlike you, who sits there and uses every little nugget that you can to just jump on the people that you want to jump on while you try to defend the people that you want to defend, I'm going to sit here and be fair.
You are?
I'm going to be fair. And I'm going to be fair
like
and
you are
honest
when my Cowboys lose. Yes, that kind of fair.
And I'm a Steelers fan, first of all, and I root for the New York teams. I don't root for Green Bay. I root for Aaron Rodgers.
I realize
Let me be very, very clear. Skip Bayless, I think you're being grotesquely unfair because I don't think that you are taking into account what this man had to work with. First of all, yes, Denver had 3 sacks. Yes, Denver jumped out to a 17-0 lead. Therefore, they could take chances. They could go at him all night long, and there was little to nothing he could do. You know why? Because I don't care how great of a quarterback he is. When you have guys in Randall Cobb and Starks who cannot get open, and don't get me started with Richard Rodgers.
Randall Cobb can't get open?
They didn't get open. They weren't getting open last night.
What if they got open quickly?
I let you talk. I let you talk. I didn't say a word. I let you go on your little soliloquy. I didn't say a word. I sat here and I took it. All right? The Denver Broncos are #1 in points allowed, #1 in yards allowed, #1 in pass yards allowed. They have the elite defense in the game. Meanwhile, Green Bay's defense, which I continuously lament, I have repeatedly told you I didn't trust. You even brought up the fact that how they played over the first 6 games. I said it means nothing to me. I do not trust that defense. Gave up 500-plus yards to this offense. Gave up 160 yards to a rushing attack. They hadn't done that in the first 6 games of this season. You look at what transpired last night. And Aaron Rodgers had to go up against an elite defense, and Peyton Manning did not. Aaron Rodgers had guys who could not get open. He was back there, he was scrambling in the pocket, running for his life, and guys still couldn't get open, even after he created time and space for them to do it. So in the end, all I learned from last night, regardless of what you want to say about Aaron Rodgers, all I learned last night is the absence of Jordy Nelson, what that means to this team, the fact that he doesn't have enough weapons, the fact that their defense isn't much to brag about by any stretch of the imagination. You combine all of that with the IQ of a Peyton Manning, a running game that showed up against that suspect defense, a secondary which, by the way, is unquestionably the best in the NFL right now. We've been talking about the New York Jets. We'll get into them a little bit later on in the show. But the bottom line is Aqib Talib and Chris Harris together. I mean, you have basically gone about the business. With Wade Phillips as his defensive coordinator, because we all know, whereas we have questions about Wade Phillips, the head coach, there is no question about him as a defensive coordinator. You look at what that secondary is able to do. Denver's got the best secondary in the NFL. That is what Aaron Rodgers went up against last night, devoid of the weapons he needed. Guys couldn't get open. But ultimately, he's the quarterback. He's the star of the franchise. And he looks every bit as bad as everybody else because the sun shines and sets with him in Green Bay. It is what it is, period. Green Bay, to me, I just wasn't impressed.
Okay. Now, I'm going to remind you, Green Bay's defense came into this game last night ranked #1 in the NFL in points allowed.
Right.
Remember?
Yes.
Okay, so you can't tell me that Green Bay's defense is all that.
Well, who had they gone against, Skip?
Broncos. What's that?
Who had they gone against? That was my issue with Green Bay. I didn't think much of them is all I'm trying to say to you. I've never been sold on them. I think everything about Green Bay, all right, with the exception of Shields making a play here or there, or ha-ha Clint Dix, the bottom line is it's about Clay Matthews and whether or not he can get to the quarterback. If he can't do it, you don't hear much about anything from Green Bay's defense. They usually don't break, but they bend an awful lot. And against somebody like Peyton Manning, they're going to break. In the end, this defense got exposed. big time. That's what happened last night more than anything. The offense, look, man, you've got a guy in Starks, for example. You just look at him. I'm sorry, Joe. You just look at these guys with the Giants, with the Oakland Raiders, couldn't last. Everybody was making a big deal about what he was going to do when he was with Green Bay. What has happened? Couldn't get open last night. Randall Cobb had 6 receptions. He could barely do but so much because they were able to key on him. You're limited. It's just that simple. You're just limited.
So I remind you, James Jones came into this game leading the NFL in touchdown catches.
I understand.
Am I right about that?
I understand.
And I'm not sure what happened last night, but
what do you mean you're not sure?
He caught one ball for 2 yards.
Wait a minute.
One ball
Don't lie to the American public.
Okay,
you know too much football not to know what happened to them defensively.
You cannot give this quarterback a pass for what happened. Again and again, he had a first look. He had time. But the point was that the bully got bullied because at home, Aaron Rodgers front runs on everybody. And if you do let him get out of the pocket, he will run it down your throat and throw it down your throat. But they kept him in the pocket. They made him take a first look, and he choked. He's like, you know, double clutching because he's not Tom Brady. Tom Brady gets rid of it in 2.5 seconds every play. He picks out a receiver that's going to be open before the snap, and he says, boom.
And all I'm saying to you is the operative phrase there is who are going to get open. There was nobody open for Green Bay last night. That's what I'm trying to say. Are you trying to tell me, because I know how meticulous you watch football games, but I also know how duplicitous you can be because you'll say what you want to say to make your point, and you'll ignore other facts. You're trying to tell me you saw Green Bay Packers receivers open? Did you see receivers open last night? Did you see receivers open?
I saw Randall Cobb finally catch a ball and look up like, I've been open. Like he's looking around like, I've been open. Find me. I've been open. Aaron.
I've been open.
Mr. Rogers.
Against Akeem Talib and Chris Harris. Really? You sure about that? You know better. You know better.
You know
there was nobody open.
I cannot wait for November 29th when Tom Brady visits that same stadium that we were watching in last night. Because Tom Brady will not have these issues against that defense. I'm not saying he'll pick it to pieces, but trust me, I'll bet you right now, Tom Brady throws for more than 77 yards.
We're going to discuss that one later.
We will discuss it later, but Tom Brady will have 77 yards in warm-ups, in pregame warm-ups. He will have 77.
I would like to remind you, he does have somebody by the name of Rob Gronkowski. And when you have the best tight end in football who forces you to suffocate the middle to some degree, and you can't cheat on the outside the way you can against most teams, that does go a mighty long way. And I'm not taking away anything from Amendola or Julian Edelman because I know that they played effectively with Tom Brady as their quarterback. What I'm saying to you is this. That's an elite weapon to have. A matter of fact, we've debated about Peyton Manning. You know, Owen Daniels and Green showed up at the tight end spot yesterday, but they were missing in action the first 6 games, So a lot of people felt that that had something to do with what has served to neutralize Denver's offense. Having an elite tight end helps. Having Julius Thomas all of those years helped Peyton Manning. That not having him has affected Peyton Manning. You're Tom Brady and you have Rob Gronkowski. That goes a mighty long way. Who the hell does Aaron Rodgers have? Richard Rodgers. Sounds like a daggone burger for crying out loud. I mean, are you kidding me? I don't want to hear that.
Like Roy Rogers?
Yes, sir, like Roy Rogers. Like a burger joint. I mean, not a burger, but a burger joint. I meant a burger joint. But what I'm saying to you is that that's what you have.
Composer to me.
Yeah, something like that. Well, it sounds like a burger joint to me. But
it's like, where both your minds go.
That's what you have. That's what you have available to you. Again, this is not the day for me to make a case for Aaron Rodgers. He got beat down last night. I've never seen him look that bad. It wasn't a beautiful day
in the neighborhood.
I haven't seen him.
That's right.
That's right. Wasn't a beautiful day. Touche.
Yes, thank you.
I have not seen Aaron Rodgers look that bad. But I also didn't see any receivers open. And I think that had a lot to do with it.
It had a lot to do with it?
I really believe that.
Yeah, and Tom Brady has who to get deep? Who's their deep?
Wait a minute, wait. Again,
Help me out. Help me out.
Once again.
Who gets deep for Tom Brady? Who spreads the? who stretches the defense?
Well, again,
nobody.
If you have a Rob Gronkowski forcing you to sandwich and suffocate the middle, then you can do other things because Rob Gronkowski demands that kind of attention. Even on guys that are not sticking him, they constantly have to keep an eye. They can't take their eyes off of him. They can't let him leave their sights because he's that lethal. And that does open things. Ask Edelman, ask Amendola, ask LaFell, who dropped so many passes, at least over the last 2 weeks. Ask them what Rob Gronkowski does for them.
We are talking about the guy that you say is the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. You've never seen anything like him before.
I have said to you, I have never seen a quarterback more talented than Aaron Rodgers, and I sit here today and still say that. It's a bad night. I've never seen a quarterback more talented than him.
How can he throw for 77?
Well, because guys couldn't get open.
Oh, okay.
Guys couldn't get open against the #1 defense with the #1 secondary in all of the NFL.
If he's that great, he could.
Listen. You have said Aqib Talib is great during the regular season. You worry about his durability and his reliability come postseason time. You've praised Chris Harris. We know how elite those dudes are. With the TJ Ward and the rest of the crew up in there, look, they can ball, man. Their defense is no joke. And now that they've got Wade Phillips, that helps even more. I mean, Gary Kubiak's got to be the luckiest man on the planet. Mediocrity in Houston, coaching the team, and you land in Denver with that. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah, listen, only in America, but it is what it is.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers got beat down last night.
Last 2 quick points.
Period.
Tom Brady throws open his receivers. That's what Aaron Rodgers should have done last night. And number 2, we got to give a quick point of order here that Peyton Manning was special last night. You got to give that up, right?
Absolutely.
He was just special.
He was.
To complete 6 out of 9 from 15 yards farther.
He was, but again, Green Bay's defense never moved. We talked about it last week when you talked about how the numbers show that they will. I said, Skip, this is not an elite defense. You see them bending a lot. They can be exposed. And every time they go up against a big-time team, they get exposed. It's always Rodgers coming to save the day.
You did think that Green Bay could go in there and win.
I thought Aaron Rodgers could go in there and win.
Rodgers has now lost 9 straight on the road against teams with winning records. To Skip's point, his last win was December 16th, 2012 at the Bears. You talk about boom, boom.